few years older than Malla.
Full toss might have been hit ever so nearly down the throat of Kushal Bertel. The lack of timing there actually saved Malla, and he's going to ask for new gloves.
Yeah, it was a little bit wet last night in terms of the dew, and that might be something that's starting to take effect. But yeah, Malla, he actually went to India when he was a teenager for a brief time. We'll continue that story after this over. It's 100 for 3 after 14.
Champions League. Real Madrid versus Borussia Dortmund. Wednesday, 23rd October, 12:30 a.m. Live on Sony Sports Network.
No, and historically, guys who have had first-class experience overseas before migrating to the USA are always the ones who get first preference in terms of the selection discussions. A guy like an Andres House or Milan Kumar, when you weigh their records up, in India and South Africa prior to coming to the USA.
Picked up into the leg side. That's going to be all the way. It's the shorter side of the ground. And the USA yesterday just allowed Gulshan Jah to bowl to them through these middle overs. Malla recognises that his fourth and final is one that they have to go after, and he starts in perfect fashion.
There it is again, that front foot ball. That's his trademark shot. Plays that front foot. As Milan Kumar is getting some treatment in between deliveries here, but it was a lot of the off-the-field stuff. You go to India, and he might be Indian heritage, but he's the American. He's different. He's not fitting in, maybe. And there are a lot of things that were happening when he went to Hyderabad that he just wasn't enjoying it. And so he said, I want to come back. And when he came back, part of wanting to come back, it coincided with the emergence of Major League Cricket, the MLC academies. He was training at Dream Cricket Academy, New Jersey, which became affiliated with MLC, and a lot of the connections that MLC had in terms of providing extra training opportunities.
That's going to be 4. Cut away. Maybe just an over too many for Gulshan Jah. Difficult at any stage of a modern T20 to bowl 4 on the bounce. And they're really going after the young pacer in his fourth and final.
Just too much width there. Milan Kumar uses the pace on the ball to guide this one behind point. Very well timed by Milan Kumar. But yeah, but MLC, they've created opportunities not just through the MLC squads themselves in minor league cricket, but they've helped build up the infrastructure by enhancing more turf wickets around the country that didn't exist prior to MLC forming. Malla can set the standard for up-and-coming players that, hey, we don't have to to go overseas. We can develop our games on domestic soil in the U.S. because there are more turf wickets available that we can play on and hone our skills. And with the enhanced standard of players that have arrived with the likes of guys like Andres House and Milan Kumar in this squad, you've got, again, the likes of Anderson, Lane Plunkett, and others around the country, Lin Mochand, etc., etc. That litmus test for a guy like Simon Malla, he doesn't have to go overseas. He can test himself in New Jersey, in Texas, to see where he stands.
Half an appeal. That one's going to angle down the leg side. Leg by Gibbon by Vandekar.
And more importantly, he's passed that litmus test. He knows where he's in. He's got the opportunities. He's proved himself. He's got a half-century here. He's had a great start to his T20I career, and he's continuing on with a tremendous partnership alongside Milan Kumar. And if more Simon Kamalas can emerge, like some of the players that was referencing earlier, Sunday Christian Morphy, Ali Sheikh is another. Through that A squad, I think that would be a tremendous boost for cricket in America.
It's going to round out Goshen Jazz spell. His figures somewhat ruined by that fourth and the final over. There's 14 have come against his figures, 15 in total. End of the 15th, 116 for 3. So 5 overs remain. Rather remarkably, we still haven't seen Dipender Singh quite get my head around the lack of use of the world's number 2 ranked all-rounder. They seem to be favouring the pace bowlers, and just as I say it, who pops into our graphic at the bottom of the screen and gets a big roar from the Nepalese fans. Here he comes.
Well, the only thing I would say as to why maybe they felt him back is the lack of left-handers in the USA lineup. If they're looking for a matchup play, only Harmeet Singh is left-handed in this USA lineup, and he obviously hasn't arrived yet.
Cut away, and that's going to be cut away for 4. Not the line you want to bowl with the shorter offside boundary. Would have expected Irene to possibly be coming around the wicket from the start. He might do that now. And Malla just continues along his merry way.
Maybe part of the reason why he's been brought on here is, again, Malla likes to play in the air. Not necessarily slogging, but he'll go over the infield. They've settled for 1 year. I think part of the reason why Irene might have been brought on here in this situation, he got Milan Kumar out. That was the game-changing over in the first T20I. He got Milan Kumar out after Milan Kumar had gotten set. And then the very next ball, it was that left-hander who came out, Harmeet Singh, and got him first ball, back-to-back balls. So maybe they're trying to conjure up some of that magic that Irene produced from the first T20I, targeting Milan Kumar, who he got out in that match.
And he's now around the wicket. It seems to be the more sensible angle as Irene himself airs after it. Nearly gets there ahead of Kushal Patel, even though the ball departs outside the 30-yard circle. Excellent running though. They do get back for 2. And USA are very much humming here. They're thinking of what? 175, 180, if not more than that, Peter.
Well, in this stage, they'd be very disappointed to finish anything less than 170. Especially when you've got a guy like Kamal who's been there all innings. If he bats all 20, you never know. He could see USA's second T20I century.
Definitely in the mix. There's still 26 deliveries remaining. Kamal will need to face a lot of them. And that's Irie off his own bowling. Brilliant, and that's why I was surprised he bowled over the wicket for the first ball. The brilliance of this round the wicket angle, he in essence becomes an additional fielder. Rather than have the 9 outfielders, Irie makes it 10 because he works as a sort of a short mid wicket. Finishes out that over well after the boundary from the first ball. 9 runs have come from it. 16 have been bowled. It's 125 for 3. Spoke quite a lot about who might be next. But the last time that we saw this shot, Peter, Stuart Hall didn't look too pleased. Aaron Jones looked very frustrated, and Malik Patel was hiding away in the background. They look much more satisfied right now. They've got a really good platform. 175 on the cards here, shortly.
Well, last time we saw Stuart Broad, he had his arms crossed, but maybe a little bit higher towards his neck. Now they're a little bit lower, and his neck, it's got a little bit more breathing room. He's a bit more relaxed.
Well, change of decision, and a very late one, because Sunpal Kabi had taken his cap off and his jumper off and given it to umpire Samir Bandakar. And then I think what Rowan Powell has done, he's gone over and he's checked his numbers as to which bowlers have bowled what. And he said, actually, no, I want Rijat Dakal to bowl this one. Kami still has 2 left. So does that mean that Kami's going to bowl overs 18 and 20 from the pavilion end of the ground, this end of the ground? And then maybe it might have to be Dependra Singh and Ari to bowl the 20th and final. There's plenty of options here, aren't there? He's not going to go back to Arif Sheikh or Kushal Malla. But the problem is he's one short, Peter, isn't he? Ari's going to have to bowl at least one more.
As you said, Sunpal Kami's going to bowl 2 at the death. You know that. It's just a matter of filling out the rest of the final 4 overs.
Edged and put down. Not easy, but a definite chance. And Dakal applauds his keeper for getting something on it. Went very quickly, didn't it? Asif Sheikh got the dive in, but his hands weren't really ever in a position to hold on to it.
Well, the footwork was poor there. He should have been able to take that upright. His foot got stuck in the mud there, Lenny. Really didn't need to leave his feet if he got the side shuffle to go with the edge, and he just was late reacting. Did not look good.
Almost looked to me, Peter, as though he was caught unawares of the edge actually being a possibility. That's the quality of Mukamala's innings. Everything has been coming out of close to the middle of the bats, but a big moment in the game. Mukamala dropped on 65. That will be a wide, 2 wide outside the off stump.
We've seen much more difficult chances taken in this series. And this one, it's just wide. Previous delivery that Mukamala face put down was a fairly regulation chance by wicket-keeping standards.
It would have broken the partnership, which would have been critical, because this 4th wicket partnership has changed the game. At 55 for 3, USA looked a bit all at sea, didn't they? But they fought back in a big way thanks to young Saiteja Mukamala and Nilan Kumar, who is starting to impress more and more in international cricket. The 33-year-old, this is his highest score now in T20Is.
Well, Nilan Kumar came out of that tour of Namibia in incredible form in one-day cricket. Scored one of the most magnificent centuries in USA history in the ODIs on that tour.
155, wasn't it? Of just 110 balls.
And that was after scoring 74 not out in the previous game. So his ODI form has been superlative. Just a matter of transferring that to T20Is.
Good change in pace from Rijat Dakal. It was actually a 4th wicket partnership between these two. Mukamala was in a different position. He was at number 4. He made a century, 107 off 99 balls, and the two put on the best part of 200 together. So they clearly enjoy batting with each other. That was against UAE then. It did look less than a month ago.
Well, what was remarkable about it is they set the 4th wicket partnership record for USA together. And then 2 days later, they broke it against UAE. They set it against Namibia, and then they raised the bar together again with 191 against UAE.
Chipped in the air and just out of the reach of Kushal Malla. You suspect if Depender Singh Iri was there, that could have been a chance. But it's a really good 4th and final over from Rijan Dakal. He's going to finish with 4 overs, 1 for 23, the exact same figures as Lalit Rajbansi. 2 excellent left-arm bowling efforts. It's 131 for 3.
It doesn't matter if they are facing the white ball masters.
Andre Russell is in magnificent form.
Because when the lake can spin a web, it's tough to survive. Get ready as the Lankan Lions take on the Calypso Kings on a Cup Sri Lanka versus West Indies. Second ODI, 23rd October, 2:30 p.m. live on Sunday Sports Network.
They'll quite the same effect in ODI cricket, but in T20 cricket, with the movement he gets from the new ball, he's been a real asset. He's finished another excellent day for him. Satpal Kambi's going to bowl overs 18 and 20, you'd imagine. It means that Rohit Padel's going to have a bit of a conundrum as to who's going to bowl the 19th with the short leg side boundary for the 2 right-handers. And USA, they'll still be thinking 175, but they'll need 3 big overs to get there. Kambi's going to come around the wicket. The momentum just being stifled a touch by Nepal.
Well, the previous 2 overs, USA took 16 runs off Gulshan Jha and then 9 off of Depender Singh Iri, and then just 6 off of Rijan Dakal. And this is where they stuttered last night as well. No boundaries off the last 2 overs. Last boundary they scored was Mahendri's house, just
Goes him. And it's Kambi again. Well, what a 48 hours he's having. He's been in this team for over a decade. One of Nepal's great servants. But I don't think he's ever had 2 better days consecutively in the blue and red of Nepal. The hero last night is turning into the hero again tonight. And Mukamala's wonderful innings come to an end.
Well, Simon Malla lost that front foot pull shot, and Satpal Kambi used that against him. He's planted on the front foot. Satpal Kambi took pace off the ball, and because he's always on the front foot, he threw the shot too early, can't keep his hands back long enough, and he's out bowled for 68. It's 131 for 4 in the 18th.
So Shayan Jahangir is going to come in with just 16 deliveries remaining. He's in at number 6. He's had some good impacts during this series. That drop catch of Mukamala didn't cost much. Yeah, might think of a second here. He hairs after it himself. He won't be able to cut off that second. Good running.
Now this is Simon Kamala's go-to shot. He loves getting on that front foot and going over mid-wicket. But Satpal Kambi knew it. They've seen enough of him in this innings to know he likes that shot. And very cleverly, Satpal Kambi took pace off the ball. And meant Simon Kamala was well through the shot by the time the ball arrived and clattered into the top of off stump. Great bowling from Satpal Kambi.
We've been on the same pitch, the same playing surface for all 3 T20s, Peter, and that's meant that there's been that big disparity with, from this end of the ground, the massive leg side boundary and the shorter, much shorter offside boundary. You were quite critical of USA's strategic fielding in terms of out the far side. The pitch is holding up well, it's playing really well, but that was with their fielding. And when they bowled, they didn't protect the larger side well. But you also feel as though they didn't target the larger side well. They tried to look for 4s and 6s, which weren't going to be possible.
But part of the reason why they've had trouble with that, they've only got one left-hander in the lineup. And it's a left-hander.
I thought it was going to be a chance. Sorry, Peter. I thought he was going to have a go at the non-striker's end.
I know you think the Nepal fielding is good, Lucky, but they're not that good. Come on.
Exceptional they've been. Points for the first 2 games. Well, why is there no other left-handers? Where's Gajanan Singh? Why is he not in the mix?
Well, more recently, you could say, where's Stephen Taylor? What did he do wrong? We talked about it yesterday on the broadcasting, and I don't necessarily agree with a player losing their spot through injury. Now, yes, he hadn't been in the best of form prior to getting that knee injury in the Netherlands, but we also talked about he went back to minor league cricket and he scored a hell of a lot of runs.
An excellent over from Sampalgani, even if they run the second, which they will, because it's well placed again. More lightning fielding from defender Sayuri. Electric as always. Gets us to the end of the 18th. It's 137 for 4. Peter, what about Stephen Taylor being in the squad?
Arsenal versus Shakhtar, Wednesday, 23rd October, 12:30 a.m. live on Sunny Sports Network.
13 over mark, and then that was when they had a 5-run over after that, and they've had a couple of slow overs, no boundaries since the 16th, so 2 overs without a boundary. It's kind of slowed the run rate down, and as you predicted, Lenny, defender Singhari is going to fill that necessary over to bridge the gap until Sampalgani around his spell on the 20th. But I think the mentality of the selectors, deleting Stephen Taylor out.
Getting to the offside man out there, not quite going to carry, very nearly did. I was just about to say, sorry to cut you off, Peter, but defender Singhari is really taking one for the team here, isn't he? He's bowling off breaks to 2 right-handers with, well, no more than a 50-yard leg side boundary.
Where was your excitement on that ball, Eddie? That was right to Kushal Bertelli going alligator arms. Then go for it. That was a catching chance in my book, Eddie.
I think that was quite carrying.
Because he didn't run in for it. He let it bounce in front of him.
This is nicely played through the offside, but it's the skipper, Rowan Pavley, does really well to keep it to a couple. Why do you get through this one without a boundary, Peter? It's a serious effort. You've got 2 powerful right-handers and a very short leg side boundary, and only 4 fielders on that leg side, just 2 in the deep, long on and deep mid wicket. He's trying to hide the ball away outside the off stump. Yep. Hit away for a single. Well, Peter, alligator arms. Often I'll sit next to you and I'll have no idea what you're talking about. This might be another case. Big day in the ground. Hale's got work to do, but he does it well. Just a single.
Have you not seen an alligator in the zoo or in the wild, Lenny? They've got short arms.
We don't have them in Ireland, no.
You spend enough time in other parts of the world, Lenny.
That's true, actually. The country I spend the least amount of time in is probably my alma mater back home. Alligator arms. Didn't think you'd get that in there tonight.
Short ones.
Well, defender Singhari, he's quite remarkable, isn't he? You might look at his figures at the end of tonight. If this ball doesn't go for a boundary, he has done a massive duty for his team here. Just knows his game really well, doesn't he? Knows his angles, knows what he's doing with his off breaks. Exceptional. That is a quite brilliant over. 7 runs from it, and USA just had no answer to the Tiger. Nepal, they've really edged the last 3 overs. They have the momentum, but there's still 1 to go. It's 144 for 4.
It doesn't matter if they are facing the white ball masters.
Andre Russell using magnificent form.
Because when the Lakers spin a web, it's tough to survive. Get ready as the Laker Lions take on the Calypso Kings on a cut. Sri Lanka versus West Indies, second ODI, 23rd October, 2:30 p.m. live on City Sports Network.
Not giving them flight to allow them to charge down the wicket.
Final over, 144 for 4 the score. What can USA get to? Really good fielding from Kushal Patel. He did misfield one down at long on, but this time he does really well to save at least one additional run, if not 3. Do USA have enough here, Peter?
No, for a couple of different reasons. Nepal has had really good batting performances over the course of the first 2 matches. USA is also playing tonight without Ali Khan, so the bowling is a little bit under strength.
This goes a long way up. He hasn't got enough of it. Anil Shah nestles underneath it. And that's the biggest cheer of the night, because Sampal Kami has another in the most halcyon of 2 days for one of Nepal's finest. He's got 3 for, I'm not sure if Anil Shah could see it out of the footlights, but he managed to hold on. And Jahangir never got going. He's the latest American batter to fall.
Well, you were saying earlier that you thought Dipendra Singh Ari had the player of the series award locked up, Lenny. Sampal Kami might have heard you, and he said, I'm going to have a word with you about that. That was the wicket of Nepal earlier. He's also finished. Shayan Jahangir caught a long off, out for 9. 145 for 5 in the final over.
Well, Harmeet Singh is going to come to the crease. He's been shy of runs, isn't he, after a very fluent start in international cricket. He's somebody who does, particularly in domestic competitions in the United States, often open the batting, hits the ball into funny areas, and he's going to have 4 balls to work with and the shorter leg side boundary, but he's got a fired up Sampal Kami charging into it. Into the leg side, no real timing. Powell hairs in and manages to cut off the second. That was in between the 2 fielders. This was his 3rd wicket. Peter just outthought Jahangir again. They haven't got to grips with this around the wicket angle.
No. And as soon as he came off the bat, he knew he wasn't going to beat Anil Shah at long off. And the fans knew behind Anil Shah. And one of the things that this innings has shown, again, going back to the Stephen Taylor discussion, without him in the lineup, USA hasn't had enough disruption in terms of bowling rhythm for the opposition. It's been right-handers all the way. Now you're seeing Harmeet Singh come to the crease in the final over, but USA's lack of left-handers in the lineup has really hurt them. They need more balance.
Milan Kumar's innings here, 43 off 35. Has he played the role well enough, given it we feel it's a pretty good batting surface again?
I'm not going to fault him. When a lot of other guys in this lineup aren't scoring runs, if you're asking me to criticize a guy who's gotten into the 40s at better than a run of ball, there are a lot of things I will criticize USA about, Andrew Leonard. This isn't one of them.
Man, that's more like it. And finally, something to the shorter side. It's Harmeet Singh showing that he does have that ability to clear the ropes, and it's a maximum for the penultimate delivery. It's Harmeet Singh who gets one out of the screws.
Well, I know he's been short of form, but this is why I was saying ad nauseum last night during the Super Over, he should have been out there. He can clear the ropes. And he provides that disruption that I was talking about. You get a left-hand, right-hand combination. It throws the balance back in favor of the batting side because the bowling side struggles to figure out a plan to negate the short boundary on one side.
Final delivery of the first innings should get at least 2. Depender Singh is going after this like a rocket. He picks up one-handed, he throws flats. Oh, he's nearly created a chance as the relay goes onto the stumps. Well, Usain Bolt out there on the far side has run about 60 yards to get to that. He's gone from deep extra cover to deep backward point in a matter of moments. He's picked up one-handed and he's lasered it in over the top. The fans have loved that and very nearly created a run-out opportunity. An entertaining finish, nice cameo from Harmeet Singh. Wasn't in there for long, but it could prove an effective one. We saw last night Karen KC's maximum from the final delivery make a huge difference to the course contest tonight. Harmeet Singh picks up 10 off just 3 balls, including 9 off the last 2, to get USA up to about what we reckon might be in and around a par total, if anything a little shy of it, at 156 for 5.
USA playing for pride.
It doesn't matter if they are facing the white ball masters.
Andre Russell is in magnificent form.
Because when the lake can spin a web, it's tough to survive. Get ready as the Lake and Lions take on the Calypso Kings on a cut. The Lake versus West Indies, second ODI, 23rd October, 2:30 p.m. live on Sony Sports Network.
2,000 fans that we have in are cheering for. They seem to be cheering for Nepal.
Seems to be that way all throughout the series, Lenny. Doesn't feel like we're quite in Dallas, Texas, and Andres Krausos was disappointed on that. Thought he should have gotten to it in his own right. He's moved quick enough, but closer there, just went right underneath him. He had the atmosphere of this Grand Prix Stadium has been phenomenal. I remember I was down there for the last couple of overs, including the super over, and the roar you got when you just got sent into end of regulation, just incredible.
It'll just be a signal. The first runs off the bat. There is Drysdale. Spoken a lot in that first innings about the myriad of selection options that USA have. They almost have too many players. We've probably forgotten half a dozen, if not more, that are there or thereabouts. But Drysdale isn't one of the young options, but he is a very new man to international cricket. He's come in his 30s. He's been really impressive for me since his debut just 2 months ago.
Yeah, he was impressive the first time I got to see him in 2022 with the Philadelphians in minor league cricket. Watched a little bit of tape on him as before he came down to Church Street Park, and again, predominantly on AstroTurf up there. He's played a lot of his cricket in the Caribbean. He's taken that since to Philadelphia, now on hybrid surfaces. It was good this year, and he's been great for the USA. It's a real beauty of minor league cricket as well. You've seen a lot of these guys being able to perform. The Shahi Jagiir's another great example of that in the minor league, performing and then getting that next level bump.
Can you explain, not to the fans in America, the American fans will know it well, but to those around the world and those watching from Nepal, the difference between minor league and major league? There's not just a huge gulf in standard, but also just the scope and the scale of the tournament.
Yeah, minor league is 26 teams now, all spread out all across the country. So from California all the way to the East Coast, and they split up into 4 divisions. You have an East, a South, a Central, and a West, and so it allows all domestic cricketers to play. So you have to be of domestic. You get 1 wild card. So we saw Rohan Mustafa actually in the league this season, former captain of the UAE. You see the field shift to add another member into the onside. And it allows the best of the best to play with each other. So Saurabh Nevalkar's bowling to Saitesh and Malla consistently, and that's why we've seen so much progression, I think, of the standard of cricket headed into Major League, as Major League's more your franchise, your IPL competition, versus your minor league would be your county cricket, your Ranji Trophy style.
So the minor league, it probably allows more opportunity for American qualified and homegrown players. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, 100% fair to say. Again, that's where everyone gets your start. So Hassan Khan started there. Even Saitesh Mukkamala was able to really progress in that region. So you see a lot of guys born here. And I think that's been the biggest gap that's filled. A lot of times in the USA, you lose guys between the under-19 cycle and the national team. If you don't quite make it on your first go, you probably drop the sport. So minor league's given an outlet for a guy like Skandar Rohit Sharma to keep playing and make his way to the USA side.
Your single to round out the first over, just 6 come from it. 1 boundary was that 4-leg boys. 1 over in the books in the chase. It's 6 for none. So that
4-4, got it. 1 all, 1 champion. 5 days a week. NPM Matlab. UFC, fight, all clock. Only on Sony Sports Network.
I saw one of them over there, and I was like, what are you doing here? I'm on some vacation. But then a couple hours later, I saw Ross Taylor was up in the New Jersey area. They had Juggun out there on the East Coast. They had people down in Texas. So you're seeing teams start to really ask about the minor league. And you can see minor league playing an impact on the draft as well. Hassan Khan, the second pick in Major League Cricket last season, was because he came into minor league, struck at a 180 average, over 100. So he didn't get out and hit the ball a long way. And you know what, Drysdale picked up into Major League as well due to minor league performances, and now we're here in Dallas, Texas.
Some wonderfully named teams as well, aren't there? I know in Major League, the Orcas and the San Francisco Unicorns, they're great teams to think about the way they're named, and they're very evocative. But give us some of the flavors, some of your favorite minor league as well.
Well, in minor league, you got the San Diego Surf Riders, where Marty Kane was over there. We've seen the resurgence of. We started out with the Hollywood Master Blasters. That was always a fun one to say. Baltimore Royals coming by. Fort Lauderdale Lions, I think, is one of the good alliterations on there. Plenty of those really fun team names out there. St. Louis Americans also just flows out of there.
SoCal Lashings.
They
were one out there.
Now the Los Angeles Lashings as well. So now you get the LA Lashings involved.
And the leg side. That'll be given as a wide. I really like the Philadelphians as well. For those who know their American cricket history, obviously that was kind of the original hub of the game, and there still is some beautiful grounds there. It's played on, is it fair to say, a big mix, a variety of facilities, from kind of the excellent ones like you have here to those that are kind of more burgeoning, maybe sometimes in public parks.
Yeah, you've seen a lot of them in public parks. The one thing about it now compared to season 1 is that you're playing everything on either pure turf or it's hybrid wicket. So nothing on artificial anymore. And I think that's been the big step that minor league has taken. Everyone's playing on really close to natural surfaces.
Just a flick of the thigh pad is the indication from the umpire. I think that's a good decision. That's why it's not given as a wide. It's only half an appeal, really. But the pace and bounce of Drysdale is going to cause problems. There is a huge amount of cricket as well, isn't there, across America? The exact figures are hard to gauge, but they reckon in and around 200,000 cricketers playing every single week throughout a season that can be really long, can't it? It can span almost sort of 10 of the 12 months of the year.
Yeah, because you have such a big country, so many different weather patterns and time zones that here in Texas you can play basically all year long. Drysdale continues, and then in North Carolina, where I'm from, you play around from March to November-ish, and we have 3 different formats over there. You have a T20 format, a 40-over format, and then there's a tennis ball format that plays all year round. Everyone's out there. It'll be January and about 20 degrees Fahrenheit, and they're still out there playing under the lights. They love cricket. I think that's the big misconception, that there's not a lot of cricket played. There's so much cricket played, and there's hubs. North Carolina, New Jersey, the Bay Area is a big hub. Atlanta's got a hub. Dallas is starting to become a big one.
Even Midwest Chicago, there's a huge amount of cricket, not just in the city, but in the suburbs too. Sheikh tries to make some room, but doesn't get anything on it. Might have kept a touch low. Have you seen a big impact then from the World Cup run? It started to hit areas in terms of media coverage and wider public knowledge that really has never been in American cricket, well, certainly in the last 50 or 100 years.
Yeah, 100%. I think being a part of Major League, and you were down there as well more, so getting to talk to some of the crowd there. I watched the USA World Cup game, and I wanted to come to this. And it was like, that's a really cool thing to experience. You see news outlets now really interested in people reach out. You're like, hey, what's the story on this guy here? Because we saw him play in the World Cup. And you're seeing a real care and genuine interest starting to bloom almost just internally. And that's the real natural thing you'd like to see about our natural interest start to come in that feels way more sustainable.
It certainly does. Always good to talk all things American cricket with that man Patel. We've got Peter Dalpetta, who certainly the doyen, isn't he, of all things American cricket. He's off, I hope, not finding some alligator arms for his lunch right now. Or his dinner. Forget we're under the floodlights. It's been a great 3 days of cricket, it really has. And in many ways, this is kind of the appetizer, isn't it? Talk about those 6 ODIs that we have coming up next week, the importance of them. With that short ball will round out an excellent start from Janoy Drysdale. He continues to impress me every time we see him with 2 overs bowled. It's 8 for none.
Having some practices out on the outfield, they've used the nets a couple of times, and so they're ready, primed up to go. And again, these points are so vital. For those of you who don't follow World Cup League 2, it's your opportunity to get into that ODI World Cup and to the ODI World Cup qualifiers, and then from there you can jump in there. That's how the Netherlands got there. That's how the West Indies missed out in this 2023 edition. So a lot on the line. Again, these 6 games will be really exciting. If the wickets stay like this, and all indications said they will be played 3 games on the same surface, there's plenty in it for the best of all 3 parties.
Yeah, certainly. If you look at that table, Nepal need to get winning, don't they? There's a huge amount of cricket to be played, and we'll run all the way to December 2026. They don't want to get themselves in the position of needing another miraculous run like they had in 2023. Just found they're going a little bit tough, particularly up in Canada. tries for the big hit. Neither of these two openers have looked in great form, have they? Kusha Patel was the hero last night, Rohit Pawel in the first T20. They almost look like they're trying to overhit a touch.
Yeah, it does feel as if they haven't found full flow. The one thing you'll say compared to the USA top order is they've just been able to hang in there and take the brunt of Saurabh Netravalkar and Ali Khan in days past now, Janoy Drysdale, and allow Kusha Patel to come in, or Rohit Pawel to come in just a touch later, come in without the seamers going, come in with maybe the third seam option in Jesse Singh, where they can attack the spinners bowling there. And so that's what you allow, what you want to happen from your openers, at least see off that initial spell, especially when you're not chasing a huge total. You can live with this early on.
Well, that's much more like it. And that one's not coming back. It's gone many a mile. Maybe the shorter boundary, but that would have been 6. The larger one. Netravalkar just getting the line wrong. The key was there. Asif Sheikh doesn't try to overhit, just goes with it and gets it all the way for the first maximum of the chase.
Yeah, shades of Simon Malla against Arif Sheikh in the first innings. It just straight down the leg side. You can see him step out to that direction, and he's just not trying to turn his wrist too much. He's just helped it on its way. Understanding it's a shorter ground. Netravalkar not the quickest in the attack, but plenty of pace on it. Just carry it over the top. And like you rightfully said, Lenny, you can just see what happens when you hold the shape. The real difference between a Malla and maybe a Mona Patel in the American innings. And you mentioned here for Nepal, this is what the openers have done well. They've held their shape pretty consistently throughout the 3 days of cricket.
Won't get Netravalkar on consecutive deliveries altogether too often. Much better line that time. Yeah, I actually find those ODIs that we have coming up, even I'll be on call for those on the ICC's platforms, and I find them really hard to predict. I've no idea will the USA continue their excellent form, and they look a bit out of sorts to me. Not just necessarily with their form, it's not the fact they've lost, just their body language looks a little bit negative. I don't know, is there something going on in camp maybe? But Nepal have found their stride. And in Scotland, they're just so consistent, aren't they? And they are brilliant to watch. The big hammer blow for them, though, George Munsey ruled out with that groin injury. They've got a great replacement, a man who made a century in his ODI debut earlier this summer. But no Munsey, who you could argue is being the best associate batter in the world this year, that's a hammer blow.
Yeah, he's a rock, right? He just, whenever you need it, he gives you. That's kind of the interesting I read in the Nepal form. He's just always available, always finds a way to impact the game with the bat in hand. Like you mentioned, he's just in an incredible run of form so far, Munsey. You mentioned trying to predict those ODIs. USA, like you rightfully said, there's just something off. You can just feel it as you're walking in. You see Nepal, they feel connected the way they run off the field, the way they walk in. Versus USA, seems as if they're lacking a little bit of bite that they maybe had in June. But it close out over number 3. Netravalkar responds well after being hit for a maximum. It's 17 without loss.
It doesn't matter if they are facing the white ball masters.
Andre Russell is in magnificent form.
Because when the lake can spin a web, it's tough to survive. Get ready as the Lake of Lions take on the Calypso Kings on a cut. Sri Lanka versus West Indies, second ODI, 23rd October, 2:30 p.m. live on Sunday Sports Network.
And the job that he's done since he's come in was truly ludicrous. We ignored those and we asked for some sense as the Nepal fans are really getting into it. But the team up in King City, the Nepal team, they were as together as I've ever seen them at any point. And they weren't far away. They really weren't. In a dash a quick single this time as Drysdale continues. So if you looked at those scorecards, you'd have said, well, they're nowhere, they're gone. But all the posts I've seen on social media over the last 48 hours have been, we're back. I know you sent me one, I loved that. It was like a graph, wasn't it?
It was almost, you're looking at a life chart. It's just going
Cardiac hits.
Cardiac hits. Exactly. We're back. It's never been more over. We're so back. We're riding the highs and falling the lows. That comes with passion fans. You tend to see that.
You're of a younger generation. I know we share very similar views on many things in life, cricket in particular, but You love a meme as well, don't you?
I love a meme.
There's been some good ones going around the
Like,
series.
I'm Gen Z. I gotta love a meme, don't I?
Yeah, that's a great stroke. That's Anil Shah at his fluid best. It's gone a long way, but not all the way. One bounce and four. Banged into the surface by Drysdale. He was sitting on the back foot, almost expecting it. And Shah gets his first boundary.
This is the one criticism you'll have with Janoy Drysdale. He just tends to get stale after you've seen him once. He doesn't rush you with his pace if you're expecting the short ball. He gets too short, and it doesn't matter what generation you're a part of, you're going to enjoy that shot.
Shows how true this surface is yet again. And I know Dave Agnew, the head groundsman, the head curator here, said, do not mention me on air under any circumstances. I'm not going to listen to you, Dave. You and your team have done a brilliant job again. That's nicely guided. That might be four more. Look at how good the surface is, and look at how quick the outfield is. The Nepal fans are getting on top of USA here now.
It's just brilliant work from Anil Shah. Not much wrong with that delivery. It wasn't that wide. He just created the room and opened the wrist very, very late. And you're able to squeeze it past that short third fielder. The one thing for Janoy Drysdale, pitch it up. They're just camping on the back foot. You get the extra bounce. If you're able to just find a head of a good length, you can then surprise them as they try to drive through covers. Brilliant stuff here from Anil Shah.
Back-to-back boundaries, and all of a sudden, scoreboard starting to move in this power play. Tries to make it three in a row. There's a man out there. He's picked him out, and it's put down. Oh, Jesse Singh. He did all the hard work. He got into the right position. Well, that might be the biggest cheer of the night.
They're loving it because they get to see their bats out there. I'm not sure he got into the right position there, Lenny. He hasn't gotten underneath the ball. That's the big thing. You see him with a dive forward in the end. It's the longer side of the ground, a lot of work to do. Comes high off the bat face, and you'll see him, he's reaching forward. He's never underneath it, never able to settle his hands. And that's the difference between catches taken or not. You often say you take catches with your feet. Your feet are in the right position. You're going to find it right in your palms.
Short, guided away. Only probably half a yard in front of Harmeet Singh, who feels quite well on the bounce. USA have had a chronic issue throughout this series with their positioning of their fielders on that larger side. Yet again, it's gone wrong.
And they finally got it right. He's positioned correctly. It's gone exactly where he stepped. Janoy Drysdale's gotten away with this one as well. That's short wide. Probably could have been hammered away over third, but he's just picked out Harmeet Singh. USA created the opportunity, and that just feels like the story of this tour. They've had opportunities to win these games, and just let it go to waste.
Now that's an authoritative stroke. In fact, one of the strokes of the evening. It's not going to be six, but it will be four more. It's a massive over. It could well have had a wicket in it, but instead there's been 3 boundaries and 16 runs in total from it. It's 33 for none.
UFC Fight O'Clock, McGregor Special, Monday to Friday, 10 p.m. Starts 21st October.
Well, they've shook the rust off and find themselves with boundaries galore.
Well, this is much more like it, isn't it, for Nepal? And amazing how cricket can turn. I think if you look at the form of the two sides coming into this series, you would have expected maybe USA being favourites for a 3-0 clean sweep of this series. Instead, right now, Nepal are very much in control. They're going to win this series no matter what. They're in control of their own destiny. It could well be a famous 3-0 away from home win here as Jesse Singh comes into the attack. And this looks very close and is given. And Singh roars with delight. And rightly so. I think for me, that's a good call on first viewing. The only question might have been height, but it's the back foot. And the crowd that were reaching fever pitch have been silenced.
Well, the roar there from Jesse Singh, I think, is because he's the one who dropped Anil Shah. Now he's taking that wicket here. It's angled in. It's hit him right in front of the middle stump. I reckon it's a good call. It's hit him on the back leg. Again, very close, but I think that's gone on to hit the top of middle and leg. Jesse Singh gets in on the act, and just what the USA needed as Nepal started to ramp things up. It's 33 for 1 now in the 5th.
Champions League. Real Madrid versus Borussia Dortmund. Wednesday, 23rd October, 12:30 a.m. Live on Sony Sports Network.
Bertel, who hadn't made an international 50 since all the way back in March. His form was so poor at the top of the order that he was dropped down to number 5, 6, and 7 up in Canada. And now, having probably shown a bit in the nets and maybe some discussions amongst the Brain Trust, maybe a little bit of Kubu Dasanayaka's influence, who's back involved with Nepal as a mentor here. They've got him back not to the top of the order because this new role at number 3, and imagine with the way he played last night, he could be at number 3 for quite a while to come.
Yeah, he almost locked that position up, and the thing that you loved about him at number 3 was just his intent from ball 1. He was looking to find runs, wasn't looking to slog it around or maybe search for boundaries, but he was going to use his feet. He kept bowlers off balance. And that's almost what you want out of your number 3. You don't allow wickets to fall quickly, and that way the bowling side never feels like they're ahead of the game. That was a real difference in the first innings of match number 2.
He'll get off the mark. Cheers, just a great atmosphere building up again. Plenty of fans and enjoying the floodlit action. You feel that in a series that's had some contentious LBW decisions, this call is spot on the money.
Yeah, it feels pretty stock standard here from Samir Bandekar. Again, it's hit him on middle stump. The question is height. It's hit him on the thigh, but because it's the back foot in the crease, I mean, that's just gone on to clip the bail of middle and leg stump.
Yeah, I think it's an excellent decision. And I know we've probably been unusually critical of the umpires. There's been a few tough calls. That one was spot on. So credit to umpire Bandekar there. Usman Patel, the captain of the USA. Can't do anything about his batting down. Working Aaron Jones, the vice captain. They're in the covers together. Cover point and extra cover. They'll be trying to find a way to plot an American victory. As much as anything, I know it's a different format, but very important in terms of going into those ODIs.
So you need a little bit of momentum. Again, it's been a heartbreaking series. That's super over. You should have won that game. 7 from the final over. You take the batting side 9 times out of 10.
Yeah, a big stroke attempted. I hope he's got enough of it. Harmeet Singh runs back and, well, barely gets that arm on it. He just never looked comfortable underneath it. It is a drop chance, albeit a very difficult one. And the difference in the standard of fielding between USA and Nepal, well, it's night and day.
It's been the real difference of the series. Harmeet Singh standing there at mid-on, so he's got a long way to strike back. It is a shorter side of the ground, but he was just never there. He never got to the position to be able to take the catch. Again, very tough running backwards and taking a catch, especially under floodlights. But Harmeet Singh holds himself to such a high standard. I feel like he should have taken that.
It's a chance. To add insult to injury, how often do you see this? The ball after the drop chance, he just slashes it away. Stand and deliver stuff, gave himself some room, gets on top of the bounce and gets 4. 5 would be bold. It's 40 for 1.
Well, think about the openers finding some rhythm, and Asim Sheikh has started to find it. Given a life on 15, but he's capitalized. And how often do we see Jesse Singh just waver in his line? Yes, it's wide, but had to get the bat on it. Sheikh does really well. Quick hands through the ball, just opened the face away from that sweeper cover fielder. Found 4 runs of his own. And this has been a really good start, and it allowed Kushal Bertel to kind of just settle in to the innings now.
Good to see spin for the first time in this second innings, probably the 8 overs of left-arm spin. We'll see maybe something from Milan Kumar with 2 left-handers in Nepal's lineup today. Nosh Kenjige into the attack. Yeah, we've sort of spoken about that super over a lot, obviously, from last night. Man, it was a sensational game, an unforgettable game. Did you see one little post on social media I want to bring to you? Well, what a stroke. He's certainly back in form, isn't he? Because that's out of the ground. That may well be the shot of the series. A skip down the track, and it's launched, well, 100 metres plus, all the way, bouncing down the main highway in Grand Prairie.
How about that from Kushal Berto? You can just see the confidence flowing. He's run at Nosh Kenjige, not something many cricketers find success doing. He's picked it up off the length. And again, this was the intent. We're talking about the fearless nature of cricket. He's always searching for runs. And Puguru Dasanaika promoting him alongside Monty Desai to number 3. Well, what a stroke of genius that's proving to be.
And maybe one of the loudest cheers of the entire series as well. Simply outstanding. And this is what we saw from Bertel when he first came into the T20I game. It was at the top of the order. It was fearless cricket. And yes, you know, a very lean 6 months. This is the same player. Remember, he made 99 against Zimbabwe in the Cricket World Cup qualifier last year. And he's very much a fan favourite, much like a Dipender Singh Hari, much like a Rowan Powell, and much like the returning Sandeep Lamachani. We'll see him in the ODIs. I believe he's just landing into USA today. And now a power sweep, bang bang from Bertel. Might not quite have the legs to get to the rope, but Jesse Singh will only be able to save 1 run. They'll get back for an easy 3. Kenjige hasn't quite looked his usual self, has he, in this series?
I don't think he's looked his usual self really since coming back into international colours this year. He's had one tour where, okay, you're back into it, but you haven't seen him been able to really execute his plans the way he wants to. You've seen him struggle with the variations. Again, he's so skilled. For whatever reason, he just hasn't quite found the money. And I think the intent from these 2 bats have really taken to him.
Just wanted to get to that post on social media. Kastap Gudapati, one of the best statisticians going around on the various platforms. On Twitter, he was saying that there's only ever been 2 grounds that have hosted a tied game, tied international the same year. Palakkale back in 2012, both in the T20 World Cup, where Sri Lanka and the West Indies beat New Zealand in the Super Over. And this ground here at Grand Prairie, of course, most famously, Sheikh swings and misses. USA beating Pakistan via that Super Over thanks to the boundary off the last ball that got them there. And then last night, Nepal beating USA in the Super Over. They could beat the full member of Pakistan, but they couldn't beat Sampal Kami in Nepal. Wide down the leg side, the 50s come up inside the power play.
And then you mentioned beating Pakistan. USA feel like Pakistan right now. They're just all over the place, heads all over. They don't really know what to do. Versus Nepal are coming in with a plan, and they're just playing their natural brand of cricket, similar to what the USA did just 4 months ago.
Swept away. There's a lot of real estate out there. Jesse Singh has an awful lot of work to do. He almost gives it up. He slides around the wrong side of the ball. Kenjige's first over goes for 14. Nepal are well in control of this chase at the end of the first power play. It's 54 for
1. It doesn't matter if they are facing the white ball masters.
Andre Russell is in magnificent form.
Because when the light can spin a web, it's tough to survive. Get ready as the Lankan Lions take on the Calypso Kings on a cut. Sri Lanka versus West Indies, second ODI, 23rd October, 2:30 p.m. live on Sony Sports Network.
End of the power play in the USA. They're seeing their chances of winning this match come to an end. And my goodness, what a show we've seen as the spinner comes in. You think should try to take a wicket, not finding it. Look at this, played away. But Peter Delapenna, you joining me here. This dive from Jesse Singh, questionable to say the least.
Well, he used this technique early in the over, and it's not really what you get taught. You want to get behind the ball. He's letting it pass and with the intention to corral it on the opposite side, if you will. Very strange technique. As Jesse runs in again, he was luckless in his previous over. After taking that wicket, he could have had 3 wickets in the over. And the fielding, Harmeet Singh skying one. Excuse me, it was Asif Sheikh skying one that Harmeet Singh couldn't latch onto. Difficult chance, but that's the way things have gone tonight. Jesse Singh himself put one down in the field in the 4th over, and this has not been a weekend to remember for USA, as Asif waits to get this one from Jesse.
And not a weekend to remember. And again, not the way I think many people would have thought this weekend would have gone. I remember coming into this series, it was USA with all the momentum. They were the side that was really flying high, and Nepal coming off a really tough tour of Canada. It just felt this was a time when USA could really put their foot onto Nepal. But Nepal has responded brilliant.
And part of that response has been the support they've gotten in a quote-unquote away series, which has morphed into a home series. The noise was down there for a couple overs earlier. The noise is incredible. Change of pace from Jesse Fox's Asif Sheikh trying to keep him off balance and does it well. Trying to rein in the run rate here, but the noise for a crowd. Yesterday, the official number I got from the officials doing the ticket taking was 1,800. It felt like twice that many.
It did.
And again tonight, probably around 1,300, 1,400. They had 800 tickets pre-sold. They had at least a few hundred walk-ups coming tonight. And the noise from the crowd has sapped the energy out of USA in the field. You can see the body language. And even more body language from Asif Sheikh with authority, pumping that one over mid-off for 4.
You mentioned the looks in the field. Well, look on Jesse Singh. That's just a real nothing delivery. It's sat there up in the slot. It's wide. That's not where he's going to want to bowl it. It's tough coming back-to-back on consecutive days in bowling, but that's no good at any level of cricket, Peter. It's a hit-me ball, and Nepal are doing all the damage at the moment.
Yeah, that's the Jesse Singh delivery you would have expected from 5 years ago. Not somebody with the amount of experience he's accumulated in recent years. And again, the noise from the fans here has really given Nepal an extra spark, whereas, again, USA in the field, they just look very flat. Get just a single for this one, going to that short boundary on the west side of the ground as Jahangir relays in. You were out there, I know you were talking about it at the end of last night's game. You were on field. What's the noise like for you when you've been outside?
It's been deafening, for sure. I was standing out by the sports bar and grill, and the last ball, 2 needed from it, and when they don't get it, the roar from that was spectacular there in the black seats, and again, the crowd has just been very vibrant. But what I also noticed is you see the expressions of the USA players. I think most predominantly to, the way Andres Kels was almost reacting to Jesse Singh, who wasn't looking for a second run at one point, only went with the single. You can just see that right now. There's just a little bit of complacency settling in. 7 gone, it's 60 for 1.
The other thing I've noticed, as we look at the run rate that USA's had over the course of their innings completed compared to where Nepal is now, Nepal comfortably ahead of where USA was at this stage. USA was 54 for 2 after 7, Nepal 60 for 1 after 7. They can afford to have a quiet over. They're still ahead of the run rate as Kenjige continues. Tell you what else I've noticed, Aman, is the fans down there, they're well lubricated, shall we say. They're enjoying a bit of beverages. on the concourse. And why not? This is 2024. Cricket is meant to be fun. This isn't your cricket and whites and tea and crumpets. This is flashbang, high-octane cricket. And the fans are embodying that off the field. Yes, raise a glass, my friend. We're here to have a good time.
They're enjoying it. I mean, why not? Your team is up 2-0. You can see the photographers getting in there. They're coming in with signs, flags. They've really added so much. And again, the roars every time anybody in Nepal do anything or even have a chance of anything happening. Just been electrifying, to say the least. And Peter, also what I'll tell you is that they're so passionate after the games too. That I remember yesterday after the match presentation, Rohit Bono getting almost just flagged down by every fan in attendance. You had Kushal Patel taking photos with everybody, and the players seem to just have this infectious energy. They spoke about how it's cool to win away from Nepal, but it feels like they're winning at home, and that's something that has really allowed them to tap into what feels like an extra gear.
Great placement. Impeccable placement by Asif Sheikh. Threads the needle through backward point. Beats Jahangir and sweeper. Another boundary for Nepal.
Smart batting from Sheikh. Again, seeing that sweeper cover is very much towards an extra cover position. He just had to get it behind square and through the infield. He used the pace of Kenjigay, who put it on that occasion, not that wide. I mean, just seeing Asif Sheikh really come into his own in this innings. It's been dry for him so far in Dallas, but good signs as they head towards the ODIs.
They're going to look for two, and it's placed perfectly yet again. It's so much green grass on that east side boundary, and USA, even with somebody the likes of Aaron Jones, who's got some of the quickest legs on the team, he still can't cut it off. As they, quite frankly, sauntered that 2-run. That was casual. Took their foot off the accelerator halfway back down the pitch for the second run. And this time, it's hit a bit too firmly for Simon Kamala coming in at one. So they'll take just a single to wrap up a 9-run over, 69 for 1 after 8.
Champions League, Arsenal versus Shakhtar, Wednesday, 23rd October, 12:30 a.m. live on Sony Sports Network.
For the USA, and today for Nepal, Gavon and Patel get on his house. For the USA, they just don't seem to get that second one consecutively. They did it happen maybe one time with Harvey and Knox combining, but they'll find one wicket, and Nepal never seemed to give up any momentum after that. They never turned one into two.
Well, you can see how desperate USA is to reverse that domino effect by bringing Saurabh Netravalkar back into the attack for his third over here in the 9th. Instead of being able to hold him back for some death overs with Ali Khan sitting out tonight, Malla Patel, the USA captain, recognizes he needs a wicket now or else this match is going to spiral out of control very quickly.
And we're curious to see how this affects the ODI squad. Again, another pace option feels like it would have been really valuable. Seeing what Abhishek Partikar could have done in this scenario would have been really valuable. You would have felt headed into the ODIs where, you don't have any back-to-backs, but with Ali Khan's injury history, with Saurabh Netravalkar coming back into international cricket, just to have the extra young legs going.
Good this time for Netravalkar. Now, one of the other things you were talking about before the break, after the last over, was how much energy this crowd is bringing, and it continues after the match. The players sticking around to take pictures and sign autographs with the fans who continue to line the boundaries. They're not in a rush to leave Grand Prairie Stadium and go home. Not only are they not in a rush to go home from the stadium, they're not in a rush to go home after they leave the stadium, because you go to any of the restaurants in Irving and the surrounding areas, they're having their Momo. I went to one of them last night. It was after midnight, well after midnight. The place was still packed. There were at least 50 Nepal jerseys inside the restaurant. chowing down on steamed momo, and it just adds to the atmosphere, adds to the community vibe that you're getting here in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, and specifically in Grand Prairie and Irving. Grand Prairie itself, if you look at it on a map, it's a very bizarrely shaped city. It's almost like a very thin strand. It goes north-south about 10 or 15 miles, but east-west it's only about 2 or 3 miles wide. So you get Irving that straddles it, you get Arlington that straddles it, and you go up Beltline Road, and all along Beltline Road to the north of the stadium. As you get into Irving or Grapevine or some of the other areas, again, you get so many Nepal restaurants, Nepalese cafes, and it just highlights how vibrant this community is to support Nepal. And they're very hospitable. They've got great spirit. They're serenading Aaron Jones, even though it's the day after his birthday. Some of the fans out here, some of the Nepal fans are serenading Aaron Jones with a happy birthday. That's a spirited cricket moment for Andrew Leonard. He's not in the box right now, but that would bring a tear to his eye. And this will bring a tear to USA's eyes. And a happy tear for Nepal fans as that one clears the sight screen. Asif Sheikh is on fire.
Straight as you like it. My goodness, our camera crew might need to get some helmets on, maybe some protective gear, because that one has just gone under the... Yeah, take away, boys. Well done surviving that one. And the USA are scrambling for answers, because this has just been an absolute demolishing. Even some that the Vulgar can't escape it. There's not much wrong with the delivery. It's probably just a touch too wide after it's cut off the wicket and get hit very, very straight, very, very firmly, right into the bottom of that scissor lift. And well done by camera folks to just stick in. Didn't see them panic at all.
Well, it's an American-made scissor lift. It's industrial strength. It's going to survive a 6 from Asif Sheikh. It's not going to crumble. The camera operators, part of the crew here that's doing fine work, they have the confidence that everything's going to be all right. It's not all right, though, for the USA bowlers. As Nepal continue this onslaught here in the chase, as they pursue a 3-0 series sweep here in this State Stars and Summits trophy here at Grand Prairie Stadium. What do you do with your USA right now? Where is the answer coming from?
You haven't seen Harmeet Singh. I can't imagine why you haven't seen Harmeet Singh. I guess Sarvaz Rocker could probably give you a wicket, but Harmeet Singh's been the pick of the bowlers in this series. I had to imagine you would go to him at some point next to with the ball, even while he's bowling short side, longer side. Doesn't matter. Harmeet Singh's the man that has to bowl.
Coming around the wicket, Etravalkar spears this one into the legs, and they'll collect just a single as Jahangir relays in. 9 runs in the over. Felt like a lot more than that, with that thumping 6 from Asif Sheikh, 78 for 1 after 9.
It doesn't matter if they are facing the white ball masters.
Andre Russell is in magnificent form.
Because when the Lakers spin a web, it's tough to survive. Get ready as the Lakers Lions take on the Calypso Kings on a cut. The Lakers versus West Indies, second ODI, 23rd October, 2:30 p.m. live on Sony Sports Network.
Field, the abilities in between running in the middle, and then this to build partnerships. We've seen it inconsistently at times for the USA, whether that was with Kels and Mukkamala, today Mukkamala and Milind Kumar, but for Nepal, every single match it's been Rohit Baldwin, Bipender Singh Nairi, Bhutel's been a part of 2 of them now, and now Asif Sheikh is getting in on the act as well.
On cue, you were calling for it, Aman. Harmeet Singh, he's finally appeared here in the 10th over, 1 over before the drinks break, to come on with his left arm spin for USA.
One thing for me, Milind Patel is such an aggressive captain. He does odd things at times. You would have thought maybe give 1 over in the power play to a Harmeet Singh and be aggressive, knowing you have to take a wicket.
Quicker this time and flatter, but still punched away by Kushal Patel for a single. In this series, 2 for 18 in the first match on Thursday night, none for 36 last night. And prior to that, 2 for 21 in his previous T20I against Namibia down in Namibia in Windhoek. More play this time. Varying his pace to keep his pair off bounds. He does so for one delivery there. His shake shows it some respect, just padding it out to Malla with extra cover. Too short, but shake not quite comfortable with that. That's it back to Army. Boundary line for USA. Deep backward square leg is Jesse Singh. Aaron Jones is at deep of the wicket. Malla long on, Dylan Farr long off, and Abhishek Paradkar is on as a sub fielder, it looks like. Or is it Shinedown? Here it is Shinedown. Here at an extra cover. And again, someone threw him out on that leg side boundary. He'll come back very, very easily for 2.
And the one thing for me about bringing Harmeet Singh in now is that you're trying to get back into the game. So Nepal will feel more than comfortable to not have to take Harmeet Singh on. You won't see many expansive strokes unless that's right in the slot. So you really put a lot of pressure on Harmeet to be overly aggressive. Had you brought him in 2 overs or 3 overs sooner, you'd have given him a chance to bowl while they're still behind the 8 ball.
And you could see Asif Sheikh was thinking about going big. Instead, he's content to tap it for a single to bring up a half century off 38 balls. It gives another charge into the crowd, and the ball fans are loving it. It's 83 for 1 at the halfway stage of this innings as the players take a break for drinks.
Report, got it. One all, one champion. 5 days a week. NPM Club. UFC. Fight o'clock. Only on Sony Sports Network. Champions League, Barcelona versus Bayern Munich. 12:30 a.m. live on Sony Sports Network. It doesn't matter if they are facing the white ball masters.
Andre Russell is in magnificent form.
Because when the light can spin a web, it's tough to survive. Get ready as the Laker Lions take on the Calypso Kings on a cut. The Laker versus West Indies, second ODI, 23rd October, 2:30 p.m. live on Sony Sports Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls,
Are you ready?
And off to the boundary for 4.
simply stunning. Defeating every team. It's not a wrestling team. Rolling back on any team. A basketball. Una celebration. Great reason. It's Sony Sports Network. The King of Sports. Got a full season. Sports Network. Sony Sports Network. Sony Sports Network. Sony Sports Network.
For Nepal, in pursuit of what would be a clean sweep here in this 3-match series. The Stake Stars and Summits series here at Grand Prairie Stadium, just west of downtown Dallas, Texas. Peter Delapena alongside Amat Patel. As the fans came out to support Nepal here tonight, they're all smiles. At least if you've got a certain kind of red, white, and blue jersey. I wanted to say red, white, and blue to reference USA last night, and then I realized they're both wearing red, white, and blue. You can't necessarily do that. Although Nepal's got a little bit of a gold trim on their jersey as well. But the red, white, and blue supporters for Nepal, they are loving it here in Grand Prairie Stadium, and why not? They've seen 2 wins, and they could be seeing a third here. As you see, the very unique Nepal flag. It's the only flag that's not the traditional rectangle. It's the 2 triangles. The sun and red moon. Janoy Drysdale starts the 11th, and he could have a wicket here. He hasn't had luck earlier tonight. Had a chance, dropped off his bowling in the fourth over, but this time the man who dropped that earlier chance in the fourth over, Jesse Singh, holds on that long off.
Needed that to the USA, had to find a wicket, and this is what Janoy Drysdale can do. He just surprised you with the bounce that he gets, but Asif Sheikh also knew the situation. Plenty of wickets in hand, felt that he could go big. He's in that kind of state of mind. He's past his half century, a well-made half century. Jesse Singh, in the end, holds on to what is a simple catch for the USA. The second wicket falls for Nepal. A homemade 50 for Asif Sheikh. He'll get a handy applause as he departs. Just to put everything he could on to this innings. The end of Asif Sheikh comes. It's 83 for 2.
UFC Fight O'Clock, McGregor Special, Monday to Friday, 10 p.m. Starts 21st October.
Earlier in this Stake Stars and Summit series, Malla, who packs an awfully big punch. Doesn't USA know it well? He scored a brisk half century in his debut series back in 2020 against this USA side that was in Kathmandu at TU Stadium. Comes into Texas having scored 12, 30, 4, and 19 in his 4 innings in Canada during the Tri-Series, and he's here because Asif Sheikh went for a tennis racket backhand swat, and instead it's caught by Jesse Singh in somewhat theatrical fashion, falling on his haunches at long run. Malla made his debut against USA in 2020 as a 16-year-old. He's only 20 now. Matter of fact, he might have been technically 15. I think it was just before he turned 16 in that series, just before COVID. It was in February 2020. His birthday's in March. And he's got plenty of experience. Again, we talked about with Gulshan Jas, so many of these Nepal players make their debuts as teenagers. He's only 20, and yet he's played 37 ODIs, and this is his 47th T20. Incredible. Drysdale keeping him honest here.
And he's incredibly talented as well. The stats will back up why he's been to the side, and I was almost surprised that he was left out because he was kind of one of the lone bats up in Canada, but he averages 26 in T20 cricket with a high score of 137, strikes it close to 150. But this is he's almost Aaron Jones kind of player, isn't he? He just takes his time early on and can really get expansive later. But for him, the role would have been 2 days ago or the day before, where he did play in a similar facet, where he was almost just needing to claw the team out of the situation. Now he's got a little bit more freedom, but the situation will suit him where you're just looking at above a run a ball at the moment.
Comes under that one. Drysdale looks like he's done a little bit of scouting against Malla because Kushal likes it full. And somebody who will drive all day long. It's pitched up, but not necessarily as comfortable against the short ball. But he can hit it big. If you pitch it up, it's going to disappear. He's got the second most sixes for Nepal in T20I cricket, 65 sixes. Second only to Dipender Singh Ari, who's got 72. So he's got more sixes than Kushal Berto, Rohit Powell, Asif Sheikh. That gives a little bit of insight into how much power he can pack once he does get set, as you said, Aman, because he's off to a slow start here. And again, sticking to the plan to keep it short. And yet the timing is exquisite. They didn't want to pitch it up, and yet Malla makes Drysdale pay anyway, ruins a would-be maiden over. Instead, 4 runs conceded off the final ball. It's 87 for 2 after 11.
Sony Sports Network.
Irish shape gives you a little bit with the bat, but now you have the three big middle order batters to come. That's kind of a big deal for Nepal. They have plenty of time. And Harmeet Singh's got to find some answers now for the USA. We saw Drysdale get a wicket. Can Singh find one?
He almost did it. Hands on head. So close yet so far. Army getting it some air. Spins it past the outside edge. And this was that boundary. Perfect placement, perfect timing by Kushal Malla and the previous over. Back to live action now. And this one skirted wide of Mukkamala. Out of cover sweeper who fumbles it. And then ever so slight fumble opens the door for a very alert second to be taken by Bertel. Kushal Malla, great running between the wickets.
Short side of the ground, and they're able to find it because they run the first one so very hard. Think about in the USA's innings where Mukkamala was nearly run out by Aaron Jones trying to run two to the short side because the first one wasn't run as quick. These two, they know the running between the wickets is what's going to be bad. They're doing it to perfection.
Time to sweep. Shot that we really haven't seen a lot of in the series against the spinners, but Bertel gets it for one behind square. Slight change in the field setting for USA as Mukkamala wasn't long on the previous over for Harmeet Singh. Swaps places with Jahangir. They want Jahangir on the straight boundary because they feel he's a better option straight down the ground. Kenjige now with Kushal Malla on strike, the left-hander. This is one of the challenges that gets presented, having to swap your fielding line around. Kenjige moves from inside the circle out to deep mid-wicket for the left-hander on that short boundary. Mukkamala's at deep square leg. Milan Kumar straight at long on. Jahangir at long off. And Monank can't prevent the single on that occasion.
Really a superhuman effort there from Monank Patel. He's got it diving to his right. He's falling away. He throws it down. That's why he's gotten that round of applause from Andres Kraus and Harmeet Singh. It's efforts like that the USA need to see from really everybody involved, because even if you don't go on to win today's game, you have to find a way to take some momentum with you. Take a look at this. He's diving out to his right. He's able to fling it back. So they're going to come back for another 2 runs. This is brilliant stuff here. Harmeet Singh had to go fetch it. And the ball's so aware. They're doing everything just right.
Kushal Malla is saying, hey, come on. You got to give me a better heads up than that. Kushal, you got to watch what your teammates have been doing all series. He's not happy because BJ Malla singled one short. So actually, they're only going to get credit for 1 run there. And because it was Malla who made the signal, it's actually Kushal Patel who didn't get his bat across the line. Unless the signal came from square leg, Samir Bandekar. So that's why Kushal Malla not happy. It was actually Malla at the striker's end. The signal came from Bandekar and was relayed to BJ and Malla. So that's why it was called one short as a wide. Is signaled here. So 1 illegal delivery left in the over. More flight again, and Mona with another diving stop. He's playing in front of family here. His brother Harsh is in attendance, lives locally here in Dallas, and he's out to support his brother. Makes a great diving stop to deny a single there. 6 runs in the over, 5 off the bat. It's 93 for 2 after 12.
It doesn't matter if they are facing the white ball masters.
Andre Russell is a magnificent ball.
Because when the Lakers spin a web, it's tough to survive. As the Laker Lions take on the Calypso Kings on a cut for Laker versus West Indies second ODI, 23rd October, 2:30 p.m. live on Sony Sports Network.
The ring and why he doesn't have the gloves on, as traditionally the wicketkeeper is Andres Kraus, because we wanted to tell a little bit more swift of foot than of the two, and so now Kenjige coming in. One will look to him to deliver that 3rd wicket. They need to find him if USA want any chance of winning today's matchup.
Inside edge by Malla. Yeah, it's an interesting one. Is Andres Kraus, it's not that he's a bad fielder, but he felt like he was a little bit more anonymous when he didn't have the gloves on for USA. And yet Monank, you know, he might prefer to have the gloves on. He's, as you said, got a much better first step attacking the ball in the ring. And in some ways, it's arguably better for USA that Kraus has got the gloves on behind the stumps, and Monarch is a much more efficient fielder. And the ring is wide as signaled down the leg side.
Well kept as well. House probably saved to put the runs there.
Carts it in flat and short, and allows Malla to just tap this off the back foot towards Jesse Singh, long on for one.
You can see the plan here from Kinjige. He's trying to use a little bit of the moisture that's happening right now on the surface, a little bit of the dew. Try to get it to skid on from back of the leg, so hopefully for Kinjige, he's trying to just get it to hang a little bit lower. And just as the ball settles onto the back foot, gets one to sneak through, also flight one up, and as it all the way on the back foot, create a false shot.
Diving over the ball is Jahangir. USA's fielding just hasn't been good enough tonight or in the series as a whole. Another boundary for Crystal Bertel.
I mean, this is just a sign of things not going USA's way. They just haven't found any way to keep momentum on their side straight throughout the series. Too wide from Kinjige. Yes, the on ball coming back in, but still enough width on offer. You can make a face at Jahangir, but not the delivery that Kinjige was looking for. Only so accurate, hasn't been in a complete flow yet.
More flight this time, and still Bertel finds a gap, gets it past Monarch, and extra cover, and it's got to be cleaned up by Jesse Singh for a very easy two.
It'll be 100 for Nepal, and here we talked about Kinjige unable to be accurate. That another example of that, but how good have Nepal been in this run chase? Again, they've controlled every facet with the bat, even with the wickets falling early. They just seem to never let that affect the way they play. They've been aggressive, they've been smart with their options, their running between the wickets have been good. Crystal Bertel is now starting to put the impetus on himself to score the runs.
Well, the Nepal players are sitting in the dugout as Jahangir makes up for the miss on the previous diving attempt, saves at least 2 runs there. The Nepal players are sitting in the dugout, yet the Nepal fans, they're on their feet. They can't get it up for this. Looking down below is section 103, section 105. They're on their feet. They're cheering every run. They love everything that this Nepal side has delivered over the course of these 3 matches in this State Stars and Summit series. And Nepal again looks on course to complete a sweep. Last ball from Kinjige, perfectly weighted by Malla. They're going to look for 2, and they're going to get it quite comfortably. Jesse Singh not going to relay it back in time. So fantastic running continues between the wickets for Nepal. 11 runs in the over. 10 off the bat. It's 104 for 2 after 13.
Versus Shakhtar, Wednesday, 23rd October, 12:30 a.m. live on Sony Sports Network.
Seven overs left, and Crystal Bertel, well, he's picking up from where he left off last night. Andrew Leonard sitting in the hot seat alongside Peter Della Penna for the last time in this series. Peter, I think it's fair to say that this inaugural State Stars and Summits trophy has been a huge success, but maybe not in the way in which USA would have wanted it to be on the field. Off the field, it's ticked every box you could imagine. But are we staring now at a potential 3-0 series clean sweep?
Well, we're staring at that. We're staring at a sea of red, white, and blue Nepal fans. Not red, white, and blue USA fans. Red, white, and blue Nepal fans who are loving this, Lenny.
There's also, oh dear, a collision, and this could be nastier than we would have liked to have seen. I think it's Milan Kumar, Peter, is it, who he's just run into the side of Kenjige's shoulder. No communication, because that's in front of one of the most packed parts of the crowd, and Kumar looks in real trouble.
Well, again, in some ways, this sums up how USA has struggled this year's communication out there on this occasion. Both guys full of effort to try and stop the second. Kenjige is coming from left to right, Milan Kumar from right to left, and basically Kenjige winds up hip checking Milan Kumar right in the head and shoulder. It was Milan Kumar who bore the brunt of that. Kenjige heading over to collect, and Milan Kumar just collided, got his head and neck right into the hip of Kenjige. He's down on the ground right now.
Yeah, you'd have to think that with only 6.5 overs left after this, that Kumar is not going to be best place staying on. There's ODIs to follow, and that will be the concern right now. In theory, they could utilise a concussion replacement, but a lovely moment. A big ovation from the Nepal fans, because Kumar's just sat up, and we talk about how sporting they have been and their passion for the game. A lot of the Nepal fans who are here are in their adopted home, people who've come over to study and live in the United States, and that for me definitely would have gone to the series.
Well, it looks like he's maybe just got the wind knocked out of him. I think it was just maybe being stunned by the collision, because he's holding his ribs right now, and the contact was made with his head. If anything, you'd think he'd be grabbing at his head and then his shoulder, and now he is grabbing at his shoulder. So again, it's Nash Kenjige coming from deep mid wicket. He's going left right. Milan Kumar is coming from long on, going from right to left. And it's his head that collides with Kenjige's hip. And that left shoulder that he was grabbing at just as he walked off the field, that's where the damage was done.
And Peter, for those who know their American cricket like you do, Nash Kenjige might not look imposing, and he's not necessarily a tall figure, but he's a very strong guy. He's a guy who prides himself on phenomenal gym work. And really, Milan Kumar's borne the brunt of that. We wish him well. He's gone off. Yasser Mohammed is his subfielder. He's down at long on. And as Kushal Malla is going to take him on and hit it to his right. You sense that Kushal Malla, who battled so hard up in King City on the difficult tracks, was going to enjoy it when he came onto the flatter wickets here. Brought into the team to attack left arm spin, and that's what he's doing beautifully here.
Well, it's not just that, but he attacks anything full. Again, the scouting report on Kushal Malla is don't pitch it up. You cannot give it to him full because he'll murder it. Much better from Harvey there. Back of the length, short is okay to Kushal Malla. If you pitch it up, it's going to go a long way.
Yeah, I've said before that Kushal Malla, he likes to eat left arm spin for breakfast, lunch and dinner. It's definitely his favourite diet of what he can be served up. He's a broad-shouldered young man. You talk about the gym he's put on serious muscle. Bertel just looks a different player, doesn't he, from 3-4 months ago. He's been really good. The equation now, 45 to win off 37, still very much in Nepal's favour. Down the leg side, a flick of the pad. And this is going to race away for a couple. Netravalkar will have to do the work. I think it'll be leg buys to round out Harmeet Singh's third over. Hasn't quite had the impact on the series that he would have liked as he left arm spinner. It's 114 for 2.
It doesn't matter if they are facing the white ball masters.
Andre Russell is in magnificent form.
Because when the light can spin a web, it's tough to survive. Get ready as the Laken Lions take on the Calypso Kings on a cut for Laken versus West Indies. Second ODI, 23rd October, 2:30 p.m. live on Sony Sports Network.
Wickets in hand.
7 runs in the 16th, 6 in the 17th, 6 again in the 18th, and 7 in the 19th. for USA in that stretch that you're referencing, Lenny, and just one boundary in that stretch as well. And that's coming back to bite them in a very big way.
Here comes Drysdale again. Malla times that nicely through the offside. This will be his final over. Peter, I know you're a big man for social media. I've got to give you one here from social. You're going to love this. Nepal has, I hope I've got this right, I think 9 of the 14 summits in the world that are 8,000 meters or more. One of the most famous of them is Annapurna. I received a tweet from Pratik, who sent me a message right early this morning whilst it was still pitch black, about 5:30 a.m, because he's up at the Annapurna base camp. And he is now followed up with a photo. I'm going to retweet this here because it's absolutely stunning. He says, here you go. He's on Annapurna base camp, and in his hand, he's got the photo with the Kantapur Max TV HD footage. He's watching the Stake Stars and Summits trophy, rather fittingly, from the base camp of one of the most beautiful summits anywhere in the world, Annapurna. It's even better than Everest base camp. The trail up to it, you leave from Pokhara to get there. How good a photo is that?
Well, that sums up the passion of Nepal fans. If you thought what you're witnessing around the concourse here in Grand Prairie is passionate, well, that takes it to new heights, literally and figuratively, Lenny.
Yeah, absolutely love that, and certainly, I hope I've got the number right. It's either 8 or 9 of the 14 summits of 8,000 meters or more in the world there within Nepal. It's known as the Himalayan nation. They've got the Nepal Premier League coming up, the Festival of the Himalayas, as they've dubbed it. It's known for much more than that now, because their cricket team is really helping to tell the story of the beautiful nation of more than 30 million people and the big diaspora all around the world. And they're having not just a night, but a weekend to remember here in Texas. Up around the corner, that'll be 4. Not the right line from Drysdale. And USA, well, they're being blown away here.
Well, Ahmed Patel compared some of the shots that Simon Kamal was playing to Surya Kumar Yadav, and I know they're both right-handers, but there was a little bit of Sky in this shot, just getting inside the line and playing that flick pull shot. That Sky has made one of the cornerstones of his batting. Just get the mirror image of it with Kushal Malla, flicked it over the fine leg fielder for a very easy boundary.
With the return of Kushal Malla to form is maybe the last tick in the checkbox of if they close this chase out, would be a T20I series, and Monty Desai could not be any happier with.
So close, yet so far for USA. Just the small moments in the first 2 games really let them down. They were in winning positions. And the depth in particular is where USA faltered. So much attention on the super over and USA's collapse at the end of the chase. But as you mentioned, Lenny, almost a footnote in the match yesterday. The last ball 6 by Karen KC at the end of the first innings. How consequential that was. 9 runs in the over. It's 123 for 2 after 15.
One all, one champion, 5 days a week. NPM the club, UFC, fight, o'clock. Only on Sony Sports Network.
TV HD coverage, and he's watching on his smartphone. I don't know how he's got the 4G up there. Maybe if he can now send us a photo or a screenshot of himself on the global broadcast. That is the Annapurna base camp, one of the most beautiful mountains anywhere in the world, and certainly one of the jewels in the crown of Nepal.
And I know a lot of people watching back in Nepal on 64 TV, and the Nepal fans watching elsewhere in the world, are wondering, Lenny, When are you going to make an appearance at Annapurna Base Camp?
I've promised to do it at some point. Now, because of all the time I go to Nepal, I've been there over 30 times now, I'm always working, I'm always busy commentating on cricket. But certainly that's got to be on the bucket list. And it's not about Everest Base Camp, it's all about Annapurna Base Camp. It is 8 of the 14. 8,000 plus peaks there, not 9. I gave them one too many, obviously most famously with Everest, the iconic 8848, but also not just one Annapurna, but 2 Annapurnas. As Malla goes through the offside, very elegantly for 4 more. Are we seeing a return of a second Kushal back to his best? After Bertel blitzed his way into form, now it's his namesake, Kushal Malla, who's looking really good.
Well, the USA is being taught quite a few lessons in the series, and one of those lessons that Kushal Malla is teaching them right now, the selectors are watching from the USA, is the importance of having a left-hander. They've left Stephen Taylor out. They don't have anybody in their top 7 batting left-handed. And Kushal Malla is showing something to the selectors for USA that maybe they need to rethink going into the ODIs.
There is an argument to be made. Nepal will be elated if they can get this chase done. They need just a fraction over a run of ball here. But there's an argument to be made that if Malla had played the first 2 games, this series might have been even worse for USA.
Well, I thought I was labeled as the pessimist, buddy.
It doesn't feel like an awful lot's gone right. Sateja Mukamala has been brilliant under his house at points. As he goes down towards long off, straight to the man. Nepal fans are cheering every run now. But this is a side who looked untouchable in the Netherlands. In reality, they should have won all 8 games on that tour. They managed to conspire to lose games to the Netherlands on their home soil, but they look brilliant in Windhoek. I'm not quite sure where it's gone wrong for USA on home soil here.
Well, they've got question marks in terms of the balance. Again, Milan Kumar, who took a 5-wicket haul in Windhoek in his last match, he only bowls 1 over here in these 3 matches. You don't have the overs from Stephen Taylor, because he's obviously not in the squad.
Short ball, is it too short? No is the answer.
And in terms of the batting, that left-right balance just isn't there. Recently, you had Corey Anderson, you had Stephen Taylor, you had, as you repeatedly said, Gajanand Singh. And the balance off the field as well hasn't been there, Lenny, because Phil Melke cuts an awfully lonely figure in the crowd amongst 1,500 Nepal fans. Phil Melke making the trip down from Cleveland, Ohio, USA super fan. He was in the Netherlands. We saw Phil and family. Phil and family came out to the matches that were around the Netherlands that we were there for.
She works into the leg side, done before, and it's another misfield. Not easy for Aaron Jones. They just cannot get their positioning right on the larger side of the ground, and now it's just a run of ball that's needed.
Too short. Jesse Singh's pace tonight just sits up waiting to be waxed. Aaron Jones in vain.
Try and get 2 here, because Malla and Bertel are both very quick. They'll get them comfortably. USA are being run off their feet. It's an 11 run over. The score moves to 134 for 2.
Champions League, Barcelona versus Bayern Munich. 12:30 a.m. live on Sony Sports Network.
Well, we've just loved every second of the atmosphere here. The colour and the passion that's being brought by the predominantly Nepal fans. Occasionally they get a little bit too enthusiastic. I think that fan was somewhere where he probably shouldn't have been. And the security just bringing him back to where he needed to be.
Well, I have to applaud our production crew, Lenny, that they were able to find Phil Melky in the crowd, because finding a person in the crowd with a USA jersey is like finding Where's Waldo? Got all these Nepal fans with red, white, and blue. Where can you find the USA jersey, red, white, and blue? Phil, where's Waldo? Phil Melky?
Well, a needle in a haystack amongst the passionate Nepal fans. This could be interesting. I suspect, Peter, that Kushal Malla is not going to think about 23 off 23 with 23 singles. He's going to take on Harmeet Singh here, whether he gets him or not. At some point in this over, expect a big shot. And there it is. Doesn't get it, but he will probably pick up a couple because he's mistimed it. If one goes up into his hitting arc, Peter, it could head up towards the floodlight pylons and the supermoon that's beyond it.
And one thing I'd like to do, while there's time remaining in this match, just go count the twos. Because Nepal have run circles around USA quite literally in this series. But they're running between the wickets. The amount of twos they run, not just in this match, but throughout the series, far greater than USA.
And there it is, right on cue, and he does get enough of it. Kushal Malla loves left arm spin, and the meme yet back. Both Kushals are now back. What a stroke, what a shot, what a player.
Well, you say he loves spin, he also loves it full, Lenny. That's right in his wheelhouse. And now it's headed towards the outhouse. That's the boundary rope. Another monstrous hit from Kushal Bertel. I'm looking here, Lenny. USA ran 9 twos in their innings.
Whilst you do that, Peter, I just want to talk a little bit about the growing maturity for Kushal Malla. There's times previously where after that 6, wherever the length of the ball was, he'd have tried to go again. But this time, he's just added an element of real poise to his game. He checks it down, takes a single, gets Kushal Bertel back onto strike. Very impressive batting.
USA ran 9 twos. Nepal has run 12 twos, and that doesn't include 2 leg byes, which don't necessarily count off the bat. And we're still in just the 17th over. This chase isn't going to last to the 20th over. And again, it's a subtle thing, but it highlights the strength of Nepal's running between the wickets, USA's weakness in cutting off twos, and conversely, USA's lackluster running between the wickets, if you will, and Nepal's insatiable appetite in the outfield to cut off those twos and to have such electric fielding to deny those runs. End of this over, 11 runs from it. It's 145 for 2 after 17.
It doesn't matter if they are facing the white ball masters.
Andre Russell gives a magnificent ball.
Because when the Lakers spin a web, it's tough to survive. Get ready as the Laker Lions take on the Calypso Kings on a Cup. The Laker versus West Indies, second ODI, 23rd October, 2:30 p.m. live on Sony Sports Network.
Kushal Malla. I'm not sure there's a more talented cricketer that Nepal have produced with the bat than the left-hander. He's got X factor unlike maybe anything I've seen in all my time covering this senior Nepal team. He's not perfect, he's not the finished article, but he's a fine young all-rounder, and he'd be in my starting 11 every day of the week. And it's great to see him back to his best. He battled up in Canada at strike rates he'd be unaccustomed to see him playing at. Inside edge, they'll get a single. But he's back to striking up towards 150, which is what he's done his whole career.
So what I'm hearing you say, Lenny, is that Dave Agnew, the magnificent groundsman here in Grand Prairie, has he sabotaged the home side by preparing beautiful batting wickets that Nepal has taken advantage of to get their players back into form?
They're certainly enjoying the better batting wickets. Strike rate's at 150. At one point earlier in his T20I career, Malla was striking up towards 170. Nobody's ever done that consistently in the world game, not even Glenn Maxwell. His career rate is 147 because of a dearth of runs in the last 4 or 5 months, but it's just great to see him back to his best. There's a sense of inevitability to this result. Peter, just need to go back to social media for one more second. Got confirmation that the reason as to why Pratik was able to send us that photo is that up at the base camps, thanks to Worldly, there's high-speed Wi-Fi at a Porta base camp. So he's watching it in full HD. I love it every second, and he can't believe his photo was just on the global feed. So big thanks and a shout out to him. Don't go send us in more photos, anyone else. We're not going to bring them all up, that was a one-off. But great to hear from you all watching in your hundreds of thousands, your millions around the world.
What a time to be alive, Lenny. 2024, 8 acre hand, here in Grand Prairie.
Too right. It's 10 to win off 16. And I think for Nepal to really put their stamp and their icing on the cake of what is going to be a glorious 3-0 series victory, they'd love one of these two to hit the winning runs and both of them to still be there.
Well, just 9 more needed. And the USA have a lot to think about. Ahmed Patel mentioned earlier when you asked about the ODI squad. Well, the selectors may be waiting to see what happens in those USA A matches. If anybody wants to push their case in those 2 games coming up on Tuesday and Wednesday against Scotland and Nepal. And based on what we've seen here in these T20Is, as they run a 13th to microcosm of this series, the running between the wickets for Nepal has just been head and shoulders above USA. And what looked like a once settled lineup for USA coming out of the Namibia tour, maybe now has a little bit of pressure potentially being applied to it. If anybody in that USA A series on Tuesday and Wednesday produces some quality performances, it may give the USA selectors food for thought as to what they want to do when they finally announce the squad that'll take on Scotland in the first ODI on Friday.
150s come up in the 18th over. It really is just a question of when, now, rather than if Nepal will complete this 3-0 clean sweep. And they have loved every single second of it. We are here for the clean sweep, says that sign. You've turned out in great numbers again. USA have been a little under par, I think it's fair to say, but Nepal have been exceptionally good, haven't they, Peter?
As I said, head and shoulders above USA. On and off the field, I can see Phil Melke. He's moved all the way now to section 104. He's right in front of us, Lenny. He's standing at the back of the grandstand. He's got his hands in his pockets. He's certainly not clapping because there hasn't been much to clap about for USA tonight or in the previous 2 matches. Meanwhile, the contrast is the Nepal fans. They're on their feet. They want to give this team a rousing send-off. Most of them no longer in their seats. They're on their feet cheering every single run. They want to keep on cheering until this pair gets them across the finish line.
Well, Nepal are now within a blow. It's just 4 to win. They have roundly outplayed USA really in every facet, particularly in their fielding with 2 remain. It's 153 for 2. Peter, your takeaways from the series for Nepal? Is this going to obviously boost their confidence going into the ODIs? Is there a reality that they might be able to win a couple of games against two of the table toppers in the early stages of that Cricket World Cup League 2?
There's no reason to think they can't. On paper, you would say USA has maybe more talent, especially if you see what USA did at the T20 World Cup, beating Pakistan, running South Africa very tight. Now, Nepal ran South Africa very tight, but in a completely different way in the World Cup. But USA was mighty impressive, and yet part of the reason why Nepal couldn't get that first ever victory over Test Nation in the World Cup was their batting was so brittle, and that's what's been so impressive about this series. Their batting has been really stern in the face of this USA bowling. They've been sturdy. They've been robust. Whether it's the running between the wickets, as they now brought up a 14th run two in that last over, 13th and 14th run two to end that last over. And again, USA just 9. It's those little things, those subtle things that have made such a big difference in the series and have made a tremendous impact. USA can't cut off the twos in the field. The ball is running them at will between the wickets. And then when USA's at the crease, they've struggled to turn ones into twos. As the ball in the field has been relentless attacking the ball.
3 required to win. Don't rule out Malla finishing it in grand style here. It's dragged down, it's hammered away, but it will be one bounce to the fielder. Maybe it's fitting, given Bertel's performances over the last 48 hours, that it will be he who can hit the winning runs.
And on the flip side, if you're USA, Nash Kentige is somebody who typically it's impossible to wipe the smile off his face. He's the happiest guy in the field, wherever he is for USA. Just look at the look on his face. That also sums up where USA is at in the series. He's got a very serious look.
Full toss, but it's straight to the man. So it's going to be Malla. Knowing Malla, Peter, he's not going to be tapping a single here.
Well, and USA, I think, knows that, Lenny, because even though scores are level, they've still got 5 guys on the boundary. They're not looking to stop the one, they're looking for the boundary catch. Playing to Mala's ego. Now Kentige's saying, oh, we're going to bring the outside Muhammad, but they still got long off, long on, deep in the wicket, and a deep backward square legged place. When's the last time you saw scores level and 4 men on the boundary, Lenny?
Here we go, scores are tied. And Malla will just punch it for a single. There's no need to do any more than that. And listen to the roar of the crowd. It's a historic, a famous, a landmark Himalayan clean sweep in Texas. It's the first time that Nepal have ever taken a whitewash in any T20I series. They've done it over a side that went to the Super 8 of the T20 World Cup here on home soil. They came in as underdogs, but they will leave as comfortable victors. There will be joy across Nepal this morning, on a Monday morning, back at home. But tonight, under the floodlights on a Sunday night in Texas, Nepal have made history. Nepal 3, USA 0.
And the smiles on the faces of these fans say it all. They've got the phones out. They want to capture this moment for posterity's sake. It's been so much for them to smile about. USA, on the other hand, hardly any smiles as they walk off the field. And they've got a lot to think about over the next 4 days before the first ODI on Friday against Scotland. They just haven't been up to the mark as Malla Patel leads the handshake line for USA. They look to get off the field in a hurry. On the flip side, Nepal, they're preparing themselves for another victory lap, Lenny, as the fans are hanging around. They're expecting it. They want to provide that adulation for the Nepal players, and the Nepal players are only too keen to soak it up and burn this image into their memories.
Great work from the DJ, because Nepali Ho is ringing around the Grand Prairie Stadium for the third time. That famous song by 1974 AD that, alongside the official Nepal team victory song, has become synonymous with Nepali victories. But think about everything that's gone so right. You saw a smile as broad as the sun on the face of the national team captain Rohit Paudel, Kushal Bertel, the leading run scorer in the series, Sampal Kami, the leading wicket taker, Karen KC with the heroics with the ball and indeed the bat with that final ball six, the most economical bowler of the series, Raj Banshi and Karen KC. And we haven't even mentioned Dipendra Singh Airi yet, who excelled at everything that he did throughout these 3 games. The posters say it all. The Nepal fans were here to support the Rhino Warriors, and they have been quite simply inspired by those fans into what is going to be a 3-0 series victory that will live long in the memory and set things up so brilliantly for that incredibly challenging series now against the host USA and that fine Scottish side. But the night, and indeed the 3 nights of this Stake Stars and Summits Trophy 2024, it belongs to Nepal. They are 3-0 series winners.
On 8-wicket victory with 8 balls to spare. The exclamation point on this series for Nepal. They came in with a 2-0 lead, and in case anybody thought they got lucky 24 hours earlier, well, they put that to bed, because this was a fairly one-sided match. They were disciplined with the ball, disciplined in the field, and dominant with the bat. Asif Sheikh top scoring with a half century before Kushal Bertel and Kushal Malla with a half century partnership to take the call across the line.
Being frank, Peter, this was hammering the other. There wasn't many games that were like this in the series. The other 2 matches were very much tightly fought. In fact, one went all the way to the super over. But as we look now at the bowling card, we will see that there was no joy for the USA bowlers whatsoever. Janoy Drysdale did at least have something to cheer into the team. And then Jasdeep Singh was the other one to take a wicket. But that's it, as Nepal win by 8 wickets. And as is the tradition for this Nepal side, win, lose or draw, it's all about this lap of honour to thank their fans who, wherever Nepal play, whether it be in Africa, in Asia, or here in America, or in Europe, wherever they go, the Nepal fans, they follow in a big way. It's a culture that Monty Desai is insistent upon, whether they win or they lose, or even if they tie, they end up going around and thanking the fans. And the fans, they've got a real night out, Peter.
If they had fun this weekend, there's still plenty more fun in store for them during the ODIs. Reminder to everybody that there's still 6 ODIs coming up. The first one on Friday between USA and Scotland, but Nepal will be playing USA on the weekend on both occasions. They'll be playing Sunday, the first ODI between these 2 sides, a week from today. It'll be on October 27th when Nepal gets into action again here in Grand Prairie Stadium. And that will start at 10:30 in the morning local time, but I'm expecting a healthy turnout for that as well, based on the joy on the faces of these Nepalese faithful here in Grand Prairie over the course of the last 3 matches.
Yeah, it should be a super Sunday. And just whilst that man is in shot, in fact, 3 of the men in shot there. Justin Gill from Major League Cricket alongside Mervyn Pereira at the bottom, and David White. Also shout out to Zubin Zarkari and for Josh Dascombe and plenty more. Josh Dascombe there in the red shorts at the back. The Major League Cricket team who have really kind of been assisting USA Cricket run the series because they own this venue, obviously, at Grand Prairie. They have done an exceptional job, haven't they?
Well, they've got their poker faces on, Money, because they're trying to keep a straight face because it is a USA home series after all, and USA has lost 3 matches here. But on the inside, they're thrilled at the turnout. The ticket sales have been healthy here. They generated a good turnout, good revenue, and not just the ticket sales, but the beverage sales have been plentiful as well, Lenny.
Well, yeah, certainly.